Okay, so you just go ahead and.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So for me, a man definitely has to have respect for women. Watch how he treats his mother. A man must be consistent. When he says he's gonna do something, does he do it? I need to have a man with a plan, because I'm not just gonna be floating around and wasting time. The man has to definitely be a Christian, because I've dated non-Christians before. They get mad with me for even saying that I'm Christian. So I'm gonna stick with my group of people. Is he good with children? Not necessarily if I want to have children, but you can watch a man with a child, like how do they interact with children? That will tell you a lot about a man. And does he celebrate both mine and his accomplishments, no matter how big or small? And does he get intimidated by an educated woman? Because I find that those guys that didn't enjoy or didn't like me being someone who went to college or university, it always went downhill. Like they felt intimidated by an educated woman. I don't even know why, but that's the way it was. And last but not least, I would always ask a man, are you a leader or a follower? And watch his eyes and his body posture when he says it too, because that will tell you a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Those are all great answers. I love the answers that you guys gave. Tanika, do a reset. And I'm doing a reset because you guys are all live. Remember, we said we doing this video, the radio, so I just went live. So you guys out here, you're live. So we're gonna have this conversation. So Tanika, do a reset and tell the audience all over the world what we talking about today.
Absolutely. Well, welcome everyone. This is the Podcast Connect Network, and we are talking about the series Cloak or Cover, and our topic today is sex really important. We're talking about it right now, and I'm passing it back to Pastor Jay. This is T.Dtake.
All right. But what you guys said was really, really good and quite fascinating because we talked about the physicality, we talked about the mentality and the emotional part of sex. And let me ask you this. Do you think that it's important that men, or do you think men think it's important on a just a regular basis that their sexual prowessness, their sexual capacity, their sexual ability outweighs their understanding what intimacy is? Or Red Saber, you kind of mentioned it earlier. Do you really think that men just worry about how much they get, how often they get it, and not worry about the quality of the person on the other end as far as the woman? Does it degrade women for men to think of degrade women for men to think of them that way, as just something, as a number, as a notch on the belt? Uh, with this oversexed world, does men get patted on the back? I'm asking a bunch of questions. You can answer any of them you want to. Does men get patted on the back for having more sex than women? What are the labels? What happens to a woman who is just as promiscuous as men and still in this Western world? We say Me Too and we say these things where it's equal, but I still see a bias in how women are treated versus men are treated for having promiscuous, ongoing, as much as they can, sex. So I will start with you, T.Dtake. Go ahead. T. She must be in the Matrix. Uh, Red Sable. Where's everybody at?
Okay. So you had a couple of things in there.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you repeat?
Well,
Can you repeat it again?
well, you touched on the fact of
Mhm.
men. That video you looked at, and And I'll go with the question and I know I said a lot, but let me go with this question.
Mhm.
Do is it a level of inequality now, even though we're in this world where, they say this is the year of the woman and all this, that, and the other, that men are still treated as heroes and conquerors for having more promiscuous sex than women? And is it good that they are treated that way? Or is there something wrong with society that we don't treat men and women equal when it comes to that? Why do men get rewarded for having as much sex as they can? And women get pushed back and say, you're not worthy of a man if you've done that, but you having sex with men. Always curious about that. How can you label women as being one thing and a man being another thing, and they're doing the same thing at the same time with each other? But he's a hero and the woman becomes a zero with the amount of men that she has. And yet, I hear men say, I'll give the joke later told by a comedian. But you know what I'm saying? There's that inequality. What do you think about that?
Um, so yeah, there's definitely a bias. It's definitely a problem. Because it's not fair to be labeled one word. Women are called whores
Yeah.
because they are quote unquote loose. He's with so and so and so and so and so and so. But the guy goes out and he does the same thing. And it's been going on from turn of the century. I mean, I've been hearing since I was a little girl. My brothers were allowed to have many girlfriends, but me and my sisters were not. We could not have a bunch of boyfriends. We could not have that type of situation coming in and out of the house. But it was okay for guys. And it's generational. It's
Mhm.
because that from the turn of time, this from the turn of the century,
So it's
that's
more
what it was.
historical. It
Men ruled when it came to having as many conquests as they wanted, and they were supposed to quote unquote be that way. And women were supposed to be more demure and more um, innocent per se.
mhm.
They weren't supposed to go out there and go as hard as men when it came to their sexual preferences and prowesses and states of being. They weren't supposed to do that because it made them look undesirable because they were then supposedly trying to be like a man. You can't go out there as a woman and have sex like men because that's what men are supposed to do. And if they come in contact with a woman that's like that, then they degrade her and they make her feel bad. They shame her about that because why? How dare she? Who does she think she is? I'm supposed to be doing that. She's not supposed to be doing that. And I would never marry someone like her. That's the mindset.
But you know
So yeah,
what? But you know
they
what, Rest
weren't
Abel?
supposed.
But and that's the part that is so bad about this. You
Mm-hmm.
and I know this for a fact. You would go out and do that with a woman and then turn around and say she's not worried of marriage, but you the one you know what I'm saying? You the one who took her purity away. And it's kind of funny. It's patriarchal and historical in this nature because the most valuable on the planet, no matter what culture you come from, is who? A virgin. It don't matter what culture it is. You go all the way back to Africa. You can go to India. You can go to China. You can go to folklore. The most valuable woman is this so-called pristine white virgin, but men are the one who violate them. There's stories in the Bible. Absalom's sister Tamar, who got violated by one of David's other sons, and once he violated her, he cast her aside and told her to leave. But he was head over heels trying to get her, and once he got her, he shamed her, and she went away and had to live her life back in that culture, never to marry again because he violated her, and he got to move on with his life. Now, Absalom ended up killing him, for that purpose. But it's just interesting how that continues to go on to this day. That women
Oh yeah.
are looked at as whores, prostitutes, skanks, whatever words you want to use for where you from, if they have sex. And my thing is, what's the magic number? Is it 2, 3, 4, 5, 10? You know, what's the threshold where a woman can say, I can enjoy my sexuality and not necessarily under marriage and still be considered a good woman? You know, whereas a man, it's just the numbers infinite. I've never heard women say he didn't have sex, even women themselves. I've never heard a woman, and maybe you have, because tell me, well, he's had sex with too many women, so I don't want to be with him. But I've heard men say, she been rolled hard and put up wet too many times, and I don't want to be with her. But dude, you the one who violate. I mean, you the one who. How would you know? You know what I'm saying? You participated in the demeaning of her. You know. So yeah, Red Saber. I'm still trying to figure this out. Like, why do we do this? And I understand being a male patriarchal society. I get that, but we just said about the mental, the intimacy, but what we actually say as you ladies won't, we must not be listening because men do the complete opposite. So is there some women who love these guys who have all these sexual experiences? Um, I'm gonna go to T. Are you out the matrix yet?
I'm here now.
Okay, talk to me. Women get demeaned for having multiple partners. Men get rewarded for having multiple partners. Tell me what's up with that.
Well, I don't really know what's up with that. I've never liked it myself. It's almost like sexual liberation for women, and it's never been the same. Not on any stretch of the imagination. It's never been the same. I don't know if they think it's going to be, because the men, if they get called the name for being a male whore, which would be a gigolo, that's still seen as a good thing. Like, I got the gigolo, and he's gonna really put it down on me, and people pay to see that. People pay to have them come and pay $5,000 for the male gigolo, the male whore. But the woman does the same thing, and she does her business as a very prestigious escort, I guess. And she doesn't. No, that's not the same thing. And I can't explain the difference in any of it. I just know that it's not right, and it never has been, and it never will be. I think part of the problem is women are still valued as property. They're not valued as an entity unto themselves, just like men are valued as the man, go out there and do what you got to do and play and all that. And women are just seen as, well, she's my property. The property shouldn't have the ability to go out and make decisions and just go sleep around. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. You need to stay pure. So whatever that is, it still seems like it's the same way that women aren't seen like that. And then when they become in these positions of high authority, then some men have this issue. Well, she's a B because this is that, because she worked hard to get what she's gonna get, and then she's not gonna sleep with you, and now you got an issue. It's not balanced, and it has never been balanced. So men are not listening, and if they are listening, they really don't care. And I'm not gonna say that for all men, because there's some men that do care and they listen. But the ones that are the ones being dogs, and then they go and do the dirt, and they say you're a whore, you're a thought, whatever. You guys are part of the participation, but you don't care, so it doesn't make sense. Y'all want someone pure, and when you find out how many people she's been with, oh no, I'm cool, dude. I'm cool. I'm cool on you. I'm gonna go over here and see. That's why some women don't even speak about how many men they've been with in the past. Just, I've been with one. Is that true? Possibly not. But I wouldn't tell. I would never tell any man that I've been with how many people. That would be crazy. That's not, you just can't even be forthright with that situation. So I don't really know the imbalance of it. I just know it is. I just know it's always been unfair, because like Red Sable said, my family did the same raggedy thing. You can't have these men, you can't go out here, you can't go there, but then the brother go out and just have all these women running through the house, one through the other, just running through them. So yeah, I don't like it. I never have. So hey, that's just me, and I pass the mic.
All right, let's go to Jay Siobhan next. Jay Siobhan, what do you think about everything that's been said so far? Women get labeled and demeaned, and men get rewarded and labeled as a hero. Do you find that to be true in, your generation? We got different generations on this line right now. You find that to be true in your generation? What's going on? Why can't women get liberated and enjoy the equality of being a hero for having sex with and just being themselves. They're not hurting anybody. They're having sex with men. You know, so why do they get put down? Why do they get labeled as less than worthy? Go ahead.
Okay, well, for me, it's been like a mixture. I wouldn't say that. I mean, yeah, it's been going on, for centuries, where they have put down women for being promiscuous. But me growing up, it's been that too. But there were times like when I was a virgin, where being a virgin was, you wasn't exciting like the girl that was sexual. You wasn't exciting as her. You wasn't experienced. You didn't have a lot of sex. So that means that you were just like stick in the mud. You was just too goody goody. So sometimes they made it seem like they went for the type of girls to just uh, always talk about sex. And some of the girls um, enjoyed it. They enjoyed coming off like this sexual being and proud of their body and being naked and all this other stuff. And I didn't really get it. I didn't understand. Like I'm saying there was times where we would get made fun of just being a virgin and be so far to even go. I mean, just disgusting. Like, oh, your vagina has cobwebs. It's never been used. Like weird stuff. Like I'm not trying to be crass right now, but that was really the stuff that was really going on at school, where guys would say, or even some girls would make fun of it for not having sex. So sometimes that girl was popular for doing that type of thing. And as far as I guess men just always gonna, I guess, look like the king because he's at the end of the day just getting the girl and getting her to do stuff. Even when I was like, when I did lose my virginity, he thought right off the back that I should have known all this stuff to do tricks and how to uh ride and do like these sexual things, and I'm like, I don't even know how to do all of that, and it just made it seem like I was just less interesting because I didn't know how to do what I guess whatever he wanted was a porn star. I really don't know what he, it's just they made it seem like women had to be more exciting by being overly sexual. And also, like, some women are these days trying to embrace being sexual, like with the whole Cardi B thing and the slut walks, and like they're trying to, I guess, make that a powerful movement. So I really, to me, I'm just never really liked any of it. I just really don't want to be having to be overly sexualized and exploited in that way, where this thing, it has to be sex, 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 sex. So I don't think it's right for them to put guys over women with that, but I also don't think it's right for people to be shamed for just being, people just don't have to be a sexual person. They don't have to put themselves out there like that. People get made fun of with that too. So it's just been a mixture.
All right, Gloria, what we got? What you think?
Okay, well, I agree with everyone. How you said how women are seen as different names in the book, and men are seen as all high and mighty because they're sleeping with that girl and that girl and that girl, whatever. But I don't, it's never been fair. Even back in Adam and Eve days, it's never been fair from the very beginning of time. And I feel like exactly what Jericho was saying. I went to a high school where if you didn't have sex, you were looked at as some goody two shoes. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. Like, me and my sister were cool, but it's like I lost a lot of friends because I wasn't having sex like them and getting pregnant. And by the end of my whole, by graduation, there was a lot of girls that were pregnant. But I was like, you know what? God didn't want that for me, so I'm not going to do it. I'm like, when I started at 15, like I wasn't thinking about sex until 15, but I was like, what's the point of it? Like, And it's like I would never really compare men to women and why the men get to do as much as they want and the women are looked at as whores. I took myself out of the situation and said I do what's best for me and I'm not gonna pay that no never mind. And that was it for me. I mean, and even with my family, it was seen the same way. The men do what they want to do. The women are not allowed to have all these boyfriends all up in the house, but the guys got to do whatever they wanted. But at the same time, I mean, it's never been fair. It's never been fair, all the way back until Adam and Eve days. I mean, Adam was supposed to be the leader, and Eve was supposed to be the helper, and they were never seen as equal back then. So I don't see why it would change now.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. It's interesting, that and I'm gonna tell I'm gonna paraphrase the joke. Uh Bill Maher, some of you might know who he is or don't know who he is. He told the joke about with the Muslims, if they go and kill themselves, the men they get some crazy amount of virgins when they get to paradise. And Bill Maher was saying, I don't why would I want all them virgins? He said, give me the slutty ones. He said, I don't want no 30 virgins, you know, uh, kind of to the point that Jay Siobhan was making, she didn't know what to do. Why would you want to go and get that? But it's funny, psychologically, politically, religiously, that's what you're supposed to want, but that's not who men really want. As you all have said, you want it on one end to say you the only one, but then you picked from the vine so many times, and now none of the women that you picked from the vine from are worthy of marriage, but you got to separate this one that becomes the wife, and the others that you have taken advantage of, that you have enjoyed, you cast them away. And it's sad because what that does is what Jay Siobhan say, the slut walk. I mean, even though that may be popular, even though that may be something that's said out here now, that has no power. That is so demeaning because if it had real power, you could say that in itself and it could stand on its own. But like you said, it's Cardi B. Well, Cardi B's a millionaire. If she wasn't a millionaire and talking about some slut walk, you'd be looking at her like, no, no, thank you. That doesn't exude power and confidence. The fact that you give it a demeaning term and try to redefine what it means, and that's what we're doing with sex now. I see in the world, we're redefining stuff. To whereas, and I tell you, one of the most epic moments in sexual history of the world happened right here in America, and it's when Bill Clinton said, "I didn't have sexual relations with that woman," and then he said he didn't consider oral sex as sex. Now, I'm gonna ask you, what what is the definition of sex, or do we have these caveats now to where a man or a woman can claim to be a virgin if they do everything else but intercourse? If they do everything else, because the definitions are moving all over the place, you can't keep up with them. Friends with benefits. We talked about all these definitions that allude to sex, Netflix and chill, all that. But now, the watershed moment is when sex was redefined because Bill Clinton said, when y'all asked me, did I have sex with that woman? I did the oral, but I didn't do the vaginal, so I didn't have sex with that woman. And that was one of the beginnings of the noticing of the redefinition of sex. So, in your mind, from where you're at, from where you stand, is being the version of penetrating the vagina so much more. I mean, have we made it something that really doesn't even make any sense? Because sex is sex is sex. All these caveats. Does the caveats make it better or worse? T, I'm gonna start with you. You must be in the matrix again.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so, okay, let me know again because I got that bar. All right, so we do have caveats. And remember when we were talking about all that you just talked about with Bill Clinton, that happened to be outer course, right? That definition of doing everything but the relations about the penile to vaginal relations, right?
Right.
So that would be outer course, what he was describing. However, to me, it's sex, regardless. When he was on underneath the fire, he had to redefine it because he didn't want it to look like anything else. But it is what it is. We all know that. And because everybody's been redefining everything, right? People are just going with it. Gender fluidity and fluidity of this and fluidity of sex and all of these things that are coming out because of all this sexual stuff. You have no idea what is what. When I'm hearing some of these terms, I'm confused. Like, what? When somebody tells me they're non-binary, what does that even mean? I'm not. What do you mean? I'm unsure how to talk to you. You're non-binary and you do. I don't know. So with all these different terms, they are being redefined, and they all having caveats. But for me, in my head, I'm not trying to have caveats. You did oral sex, you did sex. It's a sexual part. If you didn't do none of that part, then you didn't have no kind of sexual contact. That would be different. And the definition, if they use specific words, it's like you have to be specific in what you say. Did you have any kind of sexual contact? Then perhaps that would have got him. But because they said like that, did you have sexual relations? Well, then no, he didn't. He was right. He did not engage in that. So it's like people have to be so specific when they talk that's how they get out of things, and that's how they're redefining because they're being so specific. And if you're not specific, then you kind of weasel out of things. Like, well, I didn't have intercourse. I had oral sex. Don't you know the difference? That's not the same thing now, isn't it? And it's not. So we got the outer course and all these kind of things.
And that, see, now you gave me new outer course. So outer course is not intercourse. And if you have outer course, you can still be a virgin.
Right.
But if you have intercourse, technically, and if you have intercourse, you're not a virgin no more. Okay,
right,
I got it.
I got it.
I got it. I'm learning. I am learning a new. Tanika got all know all them terms. And I've never heard of outer course. Red Sable, I'm gonna come to you. Have you heard of outer course before? And go ahead and talk about what we're talking about. Have you heard of outer course before? Because that was new one on me.
Yes, I have.
Man, I'm the only old one then. Go ahead.
Because, well, no, you're not. But I think that it started redefining itself so that women would stop feeling like we were being victimized because we decided that we wanted to take control of our own sexuality and stop allowing men in society to tell us what we are. So we redefine things so that we tell us who we are. So yes, it is out of course, and yes, if it's not intercourse, then it would be considered that you have foreplay. Foreplay isn't sex until there's some intercourse. So what I find interesting is that if your significant other came home to you and they said, I did this terrible thing and I really didn't go the whole way, didn't happen the way you think. I just did out of course. I just did foreplay. Would you consider that cheating?
Wow.
I would consider that cheating. So I think that the redefining of it was just so that we can protect our dignity, so that we are not constantly shamed about being liberated in certain areas of our lives, because it's disgusting. Just some of the things that I hear them saying to these young women, it's disgusting and it's unfair. However, I do have to also say is that it's not just the young women that's doing it. When I do my promotions, I come across these crazy reels. She had to be in her 80s, twerking like she was 20. I mean, now, what do you call her? Is she considered loose? Is she considered, I don't know, doing things that she shouldn't be doing. What do you call her? She was twerking all over the place as if she was on a pole on stage somewhere. She was performing. And I just couldn't believe it. And you can tell she was elderly. She wasn't just in her 50s and looking fine. No, she was elderly, but she was dropping it like it's hot, more than most 20-year-olds I've seen. But she embraced herself. Who am I to say that she shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z with her body? That's her body. That's between her and God. That's on her. But that's the same thing with everyone else. That's rephrase. That's the same between every other woman. They have the right to choose whether they're going to do whatever they're going to do and not feel bad about it. I think that we come to a point where we're trying to redefine things, but then there is you can redefine what you want, but hold up, you can't do this. You can redefine if you like, but hold up, you can't do that. Because if you do that, then you're considered the worst, and nobody's going to want to marry you. Nobody's going to want to be with you. But these young women, they're still getting married, and they're still having relationships that are long-lasting than most marriages. So what do we do?
Wow. Okay. Amen. Thank you.
We embrace grace. Just give them grace. That's all I say.
So drop the labels and give people grace. And let's just get along together. Whether you promiscuous or not, whether you decide to do it or not, whether you have an outer course or intercourse, give somebody room to not belittle them and put them down and shame them. And then there's some parts of society where they believe, in some theological circles, that shame is good. Now, we're not going to debate that today, but they believe that shame is good because shame brings about a change into uniformity of chastity. And again, we can look at all of that stuff later. All right.
See, now that makes it feel like judgment, and
Yeah,
nobody judge
yeah,
God.
yeah.
That sounds a little judgy.
But the thing about it is, you can make a case that this is what God has said is good. A chaste woman, the Bible's clear on that. That's why I said mythological, religious. The Bible is clear. Even what Gloria said, the Bible is replete with the woman being chaste. Proverbs 31 woman. Read
Right, I
you
understand that. But that's right.
but I mean, it's
Right.
definitive. It's not vague. It's definitive that in the religious Christian circle that's
Right.
that is what it's supposed to be. And again, we're comparing culture with religion, and like I say, that theological debate can go on forever. But I want to go on because it's all 7 o'clock, and I got to go. So Gloria, come on, what you got?
Honestly, I have nothing to say about that. Honestly, I had no idea there was a name outer course. All I know is it's oral sex. Period.
Okay. I don't feel so out of touch now. All right.
I'm like it's oral sex. Period.
Mhm.
But I don't really have anything to say about it because it's like, I mean, if it's sex, it's sex. Period. And if you do oral sex with someone and you're with somebody, yeah, you're cheating.
Okay.
It's just all over the place, but it's like, honestly, sex is sex. They're just different names. You put a different name in front of the word sex, that doesn't change that it's not sex. Like,
Okay.
really.
All right. All right. All right. I don't feel so bad now. Jay Siobhan, have you heard of the outer course?
No.
Okay, good. I guess the three of us are old fogies. Okay, go ahead. Or out of touch. Out of touch with definitions. Red Sable and T.Dtake on top of them definitions. Wow. I'm gonna have to poll some of the congregants to ask them, do y'all know what that means? Outer course. That's like a golf course that's on the outskirts of the inner city or something. I'm gonna play the golf outer course. Go ahead. What you think?
Yeah, I think it's all these different things is like causing a whole lot of confusion. I'm like, oh my god, like I didn't know you had all these. I mean, it's good to learn about them, but yeah, I consider it all sex. I wouldn't be comfortable with anyone doing anything that's sexual contact or sexual intercourse, out of course, like anything sexual. If it's something that I'm not wanting to get into, and then yeah, I'm on no parts of it. So,
Okay.
but I do agree with everything that everyone said.
Okay. And the sad part about Bill Clinton, what he did was, even though he redefined it for his own benefit, she still got slammed. As of today, from what I read, she can't really get a job. But he's going around making speeches, making, $10,000, $15,000 a speech. But she can't even get a job. She even tried going into the industry, a dancer and this, that, and the other, and it really didn't work out for her, you know. And he softened the blow for himself, but she still got labeled as if she went on and had intercourse, even though she participated in outer course. So I really thank you guys for all the information. There's a lot more that we can go into, but time would not allow us to. Uh, this will be discussed also on our Monday morning conversation for those who are listening on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. So we will discuss this on Monday mornings, and T will give us more information about that. I thank everybody for participating today. T, go ahead and tell about the clubhouse and how they can come in and participate now or possibly Monday morning. So I yield the mic. Thank you guys.
Question: Were we really live?
No, I was just kidding. Yeah, we were live.
Oh, okay.
No. We were live. We are live. Not we
Oh,
were. We are.
Oh,
Go ahead, T.
okay.
Hey, Jay, you missed last week's vote. That's why. You missed last week's vote. We voted and they said I could, so here we are. So you can go back and listen to it on my channels on Facebook and YouTube. Go ahead.
Okay, so we are in the Podcast Cadet Network. This is where you can find us every Saturday talking about Cloak or Cover. I'm not sure if this is the last series, but come on over and join us every Saturday at 4 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. CST, and then, of course, 7 p.m. EST, respectfully. And don't forget Monday morning combos with myself and Pastor Jay. We'll be talking about some great stuff then, and that is 4 a.m. PST, 6 a.m. CST, and 7 a.m. EST, respectfully. Please do come out and support either way. We want you to come and participate in this conversation with the podcasters here, and we want to hear your voice. We want to dialogue with you. So if you want to reach us, you can also reach out to Pastor Jay or myself to be a guest on the Monday Morning Convos. And there's a lot of amazing people here as well if you need to reach out to them as well. So if there's nothing else, I'm going to pass it back to Pastor Jay, and we will be closing out.
All right. Again, thank you guys for coming in. One more round of questions. One more round of questions. Is church a place that we should discuss this? Yes or no, Jay Siobhan? Yes or no? Is church a place we should discuss sex?
Yes.
Okay. Red Sable, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Gloria, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. T.Dtake, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Now I'm gonna be the odd one. Hecky no, we don't need to discuss this because can't nobody get it right. I'm just being silly. No, but we need to discuss this. Maybe me and T talk about this, and we'll talk about it on Monday. Maybe not from the pulpit, but we need to be understanding where our people come from because just be up from our little conversation and all the different ways things are looked at. It, we need to keep up with this because our people are going through this. Christians are, this is not a conversation that of non-Christians. This is a conversation that Christians that should be talking about and not act as if they're walking around toting this Bible every time they deal with each other. So we do need to discuss this. We need to be open about it, and we need to be honest of where we stand in it and how we're going to work our way around it, through it. And it's here to stay. Sex is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, and we got to deal with it. And the church is ill-equipped at most times to deal with it because we act as if it's not really there, and that's the sad part. So with that, I guess T, are you gonna land the plane, or you want me to land the plane?
Did you want to? Because I can, but it's up to you.
Well, go ahead. You land the plane.
Okay,
the plane.
All right, we're closing out. 10, 9.
Good evening, everybody.
8.
Bye. Have a
7,
blessed one.
6. 5.
Have a blessed night, everybody.
4.
Take care.
3. 2. 1. You guys have a blessed weekend.